Hello everyone, welcome once again to the Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will discuss the consequence of Russian invasion on Ukraine, that is the impact on global value chain. We will be discussing this with respect to economy, and this will be one of the impact of Russia-Ukraine conflict. Okay, this will be one of the impact, and we will be discussing this entire video on the economic perspective. So let's start. Hoarding in Thailand, Lebanon, protests in Iraq, and how the Ukraine war threatens the global food crisis. Okay, we will understand what the global value chain is, global supply chain is, and how does the world economy work. Government cracks down hard on the pork hoarders. Hoarders are people who store a particular produce so that in future they might get increased income, or if there is a scarcity, they can use it. For example, if you get water once a month or once a week, okay, what do? You store the water. That particular process is called as hoarding. Okay. Now let's understand what is global value chain, which is also called as global supply chain. Global supply chain. What does it mean by global supply chain? A global value chain is a full range of economic activities across the border, very important term, that the economic actors are engaged in to bring a product to the market. For example, imagine the case of Apple mobile phones. You all know that the Apple mobile phones would be designed in USA, okay, and components, many of the components are manufactured in different countries. For example, you have India. In India, there's a plant in Bangalore which is owned by Foxconn, okay, and it manufactures the chips that would be fitted in Apple phones. And you also have components getting manufactured in South Korea, Japan, and all these particular components would reach China, where the phone is assembled and it is marketed throughout the globe. And this entire process, which will involve different countries at different stages, which will contribute small components to the larger single device, this entire process is called as global value chain or global supply chain. And the same chain, this is with respect to electronic goods that we have discussed, and the same chain can also be a part of agriculture, where you have the primary raw material being imported from a particular country, and then you will have many ingredients or value additions or fortifications that will be done, and that the components for the fortification would be imported from a different country, and in a different country the actual fortification or the actual value addition or food processing happens, and then it will be marketed. And this entire system or a process is called as global value chain. See, this is how it works: R&D, design, purchasing, production, distribution, marketing, services. Okay, and all these processes would be carried out by a different countries altogether, and this will contribute to the global value chain. And what is the effect of Russia-Ukraine conflict? What are the possible effects and what is happening as of now? As Russia invaded Ukraine, and Ukraine is one of the largest bread baskets. Okay, if Ukraine is one of the largest bread basket, then the wheat supply would be threatened. Okay, and now you can see here in Lebanon, what happened in Lebanon? The government has only about a month's wheat supply left. Okay, you have a scarcity here of food production. In Iraq, protests had broken out because of an unprecedented rise in the price of food products. Unprecedented rise. You have inflation that is coming into picture here. Hungary has banned all grain exports. Hungary has banned all grain exports. United Nations World Food Program had to cut the ration supplies to Yemen because there was a scarcity. Okay, these are the effects of Russia-Ukraine conflict. And impact of pandemic is something that has added to the cause. Okay, impact of pandemic added to the cause. What happened? Food prices across the world were already rising fast because of the demand supply mismatch. Because of the demand supply mismatch, the price of agricultural goods or price of any goods for that matter was increasing because we had demand pull inflation. What is demand pull inflation? And you also have one more term, that is cost push inflation. You should know what these terms means. Okay, whenever, if you have not covered economics, people who are watching it for the first time, if you have not covered economics, all these terms would be covered in your core economic concepts. Here, just know, because of the demand supply mismatch, there was a demand pull inflation due to pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And the Russia-Ukraine conflict triggered this particular demand supply mismatch and the price rise. What is the contribution of Russia and Ukraine, or what is the importance of Russia-Ukraine when it comes to agricultural production? Look at here. The 30% of wheat, 17% of corn, and over half of the sunflower seed oil would be exported across the world from Russia and Ukraine. This is the importance. How did it impact? The conflict induced bottlenecks at the Black Sea ports. When the ports are blocked, when there is a bottleneck, you have increased costs. Because of the bottlenecks, you will have increased cost. You will not have the seamless supply of goods and services. That's what the bottlenecks mean. You will have some kind of disruptions. Whenever such kind of disruptions happen because of the due to agricultural produce and also many other goods for that matter, the price rised. The boycott of the Russian ports by shipping companies, you all are heard of swift sanctions that are in place on Russia. Because of such transactions, because of such ban or sanctions that were put on Russia and the boycott of Russian ports, many of the Russian goods did not reach the global market. Okay, because that led to the shortage in supply. Whenever you have the shortage in supply or the constant demand or an increasing demand, that would lead to demand pull inflation again. Effects of sanctions have disrupted the flow of goods. This would threaten the global economic order. What is the future? Food and Agricultural Organization primary assessment report or a primary investigation says that 20 to 30% of wheat, corn, sunflower would be not planted, or even if it is planted, it would not be harvested in Ukraine because of the Russian invasion. If there is a reduced supply, even then there is a inflation. Even then there is inflation. United Nations World Food Program said that the number of people suffering from famine in 2019 was 27 million and now it has gone to 44 million. So number of people who are living or who are facing famine conditions are increasing. And the next thing is the shortage of inputs. Whenever we talk about the shortage of inputs, the first thing that we talk about is fertilizer. You all know that around 15% of the world's supply of fertilizer is from Russia. Whenever if Russia cuts down on its manufacturing of fertilizer, then the nutrition security of the entire world would be threatened, would be very difficult, a grave situation for that matter. And this is also happening because of one of the key ingredients for the manufacture of the fertilizer is natural gas. You all know since the invasion, the crude oil prices have been increasing. It was hovering around $80 per barrel when it was started. Now it has gone, to surpass $130. Okay, and because of this rise in the crude oil, okay, natural gas has also increased. If there is an increase in the production cost, then the manufacturers would certainly cut down the production. And how this can be used by India and how can it be advantageous from the point of India? One thing is, if the export prices are rising, then the Indian goods would become more competitive and India can capture more markets. India has already exported grains, 6 million ton of wheat grains during the month of April, January 2021 and 2022, and this particular humanitarian aid can be used as a soft power diplomacy when it comes to foreign affairs. Soft power diplomacy. Okay, that's all for today. I hope you have liked the video. For more such enriching content, please subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy. Have a nice day. Thank you.